Hello, creative people. I am having a great day. It is so nice outside, and I have been researching a lot about underwater creatures and underwater worlds. So I am really looking forward to making them come to life. So as you guys get on, make sure to say hi. And I would love to hear from you as you're popping on. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know what you're going to need for this project. First of all, you are going to need some glue. You are going to need some scissors, tape. Paper clips are optional. Plastic wrap is also optional. You're going to need a black marker. We're going to need a plethora of blue paper. Okay. Also, some more magazine colors, like we talked about in the previous videos. Just find some magazines that you can cut out things out of that have a lot of colors in them. So my favorite thing to use is magazines that have flowers, because there's so many colors, lots of fun. But whatever junk mail you have can also suffice. I wanted to share, hey guys, Michael and Malachi and Jen. I wanted to share with you guys my latest idea. So Liam eats out of these, and I was like, you know what? Let me use these for my project because they look so cool and they're like metallic. So I'm going to be cutting up this juice pouch today. I was also thinking Capri Sun pouches would be kind of cool too. And then last but not least, you're going to need some kind of form to make your underwater world in. I have really been thinking about all the different things you can use for this project. There are literally countless ideas you could use to make your aquarium fit inside. So don't feel tied to a meat tray. I posted earlier this week you could use a cereal box. You could use a shoe box. Another idea we came up with is getting 2 paper plates and then cutting out the inside of one, flipping it over, and gluing it on. Okay, and then you still kind of have that plastic wrap element. Kind of looks like aquarium a little bit. So there's lots of options when it comes to the kind of form your aquarium can take. Okay, so don't feel tied to one. And don't feel like you have to make yours look exactly like mine. Embrace the challenge and creativity that you have in your home. And I want to see what you guys come up with. I mean, technically, you could do like a mason jar or something and put all of the shapes and stuff that you come up with on the inside of your mason jar so that you see it on the outside. Just saying. Okay, so the time has come to announce. Oh, you guys have cereal boxes? Love it. Hey, Jess. The time has come to announce the winner of the personalized coloring page. And I'm so excited to announce that Michael and Malachi both won the personalized coloring page contest. So I will be personally messaging you, Jen, with questions so that I can make them each different. And then I will mail those both to you guys. Alrighty, so before we get started on our underwater world, I just wanted to take a couple seconds for us to think before we begin, okay? So one of the facts that I found out about the ocean is that literally only 5% of the ocean has been discovered by people. So there's all this unexplored underwater ocean, and most of the world is covered in ocean. So, can you guys imagine the possible, A, creatures that are under there, B, what kind of things have sunk under there, and they're just like sitting there and nobody knows. I found out that there's a statue underwater. okay? So there's so many things that could just be sitting there and we have no idea. So as you're thinking about your underwater world, I want you to take a chance to think about what you would put in your underwater world. And you know what? You can add some things that may not possibly be real, like mermaids, or a Aquaman. Aquaman could be in your aquarium, okay? So I want you to take the chance of really using your imagination and coming up with some interesting things you could include in your underwater world, okay? So, we are going to start with whatever form you are using. I'm going to use another meat tray. We had a lot of chicken for Easter, as you can tell. So we have our form, and we are going to begin with the background. So, grab some blue paper. If you don't have blue paper and you just have a white piece of paper with blue marker, you can just color that. But what I did is I found several different kinds of blue. And when you think about the ocean, the top of the ocean has a lot lighter blue because the light is still penetrating the top of the ocean. The deeper you get, the darker the blue is. And another interesting fact is that there are some really, really deep parts of the ocean that you can't even explore because the water is too heavy, and if you go that far, it will crush you. So, yet again, there's so much mystery involved with the ocean that our imaginations could just go wild with this. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start ripping pieces. I don't want them to be too little. So, maybe like this big. And if you guys have awesome facts about the ocean, please share, because I love science and I love finding out things. Like me and my mom, sometimes we just watch documentaries about the ocean and nature because there's so many things you can find out. All right. You could also cut these out if you want. I feel like I always have to say that for people who do not like jaggedy edges. Okay? And as you guys are ripping these up, I want you to think about the colors that the types of blue that you're using, and where you would be placing them. Okay? All right. I'm going to make my pieces a little bigger. Okay, so once we start, we're going to go ahead and start up here and work our way down. And if you would like to just put some of the blue on there because you're thinking, you know what, I want something else in my background, you don't have to cover the whole thing. I'm honestly thinking put a volcano in here. So if I put a volcano in here, I'm probably going to put it right here, so I don't need to cover all my background, okay? So you can just use your glue stick, or in an earlier video, I gave you guys a tip on using Elmer's glue. So what I do in my classroom is I just have kids pour it out in like a little cup and use a paintbrush if you have Elmer's glue, because it's so much more easier to control how you apply it to your project. So that's an option. Alrighty. Yeah. I was thinking too, a cool background would be like doing the Finding Nemo background with the sharks and like the part where they're in the submarine and like it explodes and there's like a minefield and stuff. That would be a cool background to like have a submarine in the back and then like have the little bombs like hanging out. That would be fun. All right. So we see the light is brighter on the top. And yet again, I'm not going to cover everything because this is where I want to put my volcano. And as we're going, like, I want you guys to think about how we're layering this project. The cool part about using a meat tray or something where there's depth to your box or whatever you're using is that we can take advantage of, like, this part is really far behind, this part is a little closer, this part's really close. So we can take advantage of, like, this is a background and we can put things in front of it. So also be thinking about that, or even gluing things right on top of here. The key is just to make sure we make everything nice and neat so that people can tell that, oh, that's a dolphin, or oh, that's a squid. Okay? And then cover my bottom here. Okay. All right. Ta-da! Here's my last piece. Okay. So, for my volcano, I'm just going to draw it on a piece of paper. But as always, like we've been practicing, you can draw it on anything else. I'm going to check the size to see how it would fit in there. If I just make it like this big, it'll be perfect. Okay. And as you guys are coming up with ideas for your underwater worlds, please share, because I love hearing what you guys have come up with, your amazing imaginations. All right. So, I researched volcanoes in the ocean, and apparently, who knew that they're like legit volcanoes that are bigger than ones that have happened on land. And we don't really find out that they're happening because they're underwater, and like some parts of the ocean are so far from land that you wouldn't even know unless you were flying over it. And so all of a sudden, because of the different plates that are covering the earth, sometimes they open up even under the ocean, and the magma from inside of the earth flows through these volcanoes underwater and then shoots up like out of the water. And so then what's really cool is finding what's left behind under the water, and the lava is still like bright orange at the beginning, but then afterwards there's just like piles and piles of like ash and like weird substances happening. Ooh, okay, so Michael is doing a book paper background. Ooh, that's a cool idea. I love it. Malachi's using white paper and coloring blue. Sweet. I just love doing art with you guys. I'm so glad you guys are here. You make it so much fun. All right. Haha! So I'm going to put my lava volcano in here. In my mysterious underwater world. Okay. I didn't quite cover this part, so I'm going to pull that up, cover that real quick. All right. Now, the next thing we have to think about is the bottom. Oh, look at you. You're so creative, Malachi. I love that. You're using sidewalk chalk and crayon. Yes. Using 2 different textures, too. You guys are going to become amazing collage artists after this. Okay, so we are going to do the bottom part right here. So we have to think about what is covering the ocean floor. And obviously from Nemo, we have lots of clues about that. So we could put coral, we could put anemones, we could put kelp. I definitely want to add a starfish because you can't have an ocean floor without a starfish. Yeah, so there's so many things we could put on the ocean floor, okay? So I'm going to start picking out some colors and thinking about what I want to have. I'm probably going to focus on coral and rocks because both of those are very pertinent. All right. So I'm just going to start making coral shapes, and coral has lots of forms as well. You can have the kind of coral that goes up and it's kind of like S shapes, and they're like tubes. Very different, okay? Da, 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 da. So I'm going to cut that out. And coral, apparently I found out by watching a documentary, coral, like the hard stuff that we see the outside, is actually the skeleton of the coral. There are like little animals that come out of the holes that, like, there's like a, I don't even know how to describe it. It's so weird. There's like a creature on the inside of the coral that comes out and eats at night. And then the outside of the coral gets bigger as the inside creature like eats more stuff. I don't know. It's weird. I was trying to understand when I was watching the documentary, and it was just blowing my mind because I had no idea. So yeah, I think it was on Netflix. So if you guys want to learn about coral. It is kind of depressing because apparently most of the coral is actually dying away, as are lots of things on the earth right now. But you know what? Jesus is going to come back, and he's going to teach us how to fix all the problems in the earth. So there's always that hope. All right. So I'm going to start putting things on my ocean floor. Okay. Ooh, that looks cool. All right. Let's see. We can make some more coral, but there's also like the circle, like the regular circle coral. So I'm just going to kind of like make these like boulders that overlap each other. Like one is on top of the other. Apparently also, the ocean provides like 70% of our oxygen. So like there's always bubbles popping up from the bottom of the ocean floor because oxygen inside water is like forms a bubble. So we could also add like a bubbly effect, like a bunch of like little circles like popping up to the surface to help supply us with the oxygen we need. And it's so interesting to think about how like the health of the ocean affects us, even though like we've never seen, well, I've never seen a lot of like underwater stuff before. You guys might have, but I really want to go scuba diving one day. That would be cool. But I've never seen any of that before, but at the same time, it's like helping me breathe every day because that oxygen is coming from there, which is such a weird thought, right? I'm going to make rocks too. Another thing that affects us, well, not our beaches, but there's some beaches that are formed. Get this. This is so wild. You guys might know this already, but I was like blown away. Apparently, there's a fish called a parrotfish, and all it does is just use its beak. Like, it has a beak. It's so weird. Like, sometimes I'm just like, Lord, like, why did you create it? Like, this weird creature. So, like, this weird parrotfish bites coral. And so, like, if you're under there, you can legit hear these parrotfish, like, crunching. Like, you can hear them crunching and biting the coral, which is so weird. Like, that's not a sound you would think you would hear underwater, right? Like, I think of, like, whales or something. But these parrotfish chew on coral all day, like they bite it with their parrot beaks, and then they poop it out, and that's what the sand is on some beaches. I don't think that's what's here, because I don't think we're that tropical, but in some tropical beaches, those beaches are just parrotfish poop. That's all it is. Which is such a weird idea, but like God created it like that. Like, wow, so weird. So I'm gonna just put my rocks here. Okay. Can you guys think of anything else I should put on the bottom of my underwater world? What else could I put that is underwater, like on the bottom? If you have any ideas, put it in the comments, because I will love to add that. While I'm waiting on your ideas, I'm going to go ahead and make a starfish out of my juice pouch. So I'm going to show you guys a quick, easy way to make a starfish, or just a star in general if you're going to cut it out. Probably not if you're going to draw it, because then you'd see what you're doing, but if you're going to cut it out, psh, it's fine. So all you have to do is make a upside down T, but the top of the T doesn't go too high. Okay, so I made the line across and then an upside down T. Ooh, shells, duh. Thank you so much, Michael. I told myself I was gonna add shells. Thank you. Why did I not think of that? Okay, I'm gonna add shells after this. Okay, and then you can do an upside down V. Okay, so right now it kind of looks weird, but when you cut it out, you can fix it. Okay, so as I'm cutting it out, I'm not going to cut along the line. I'm literally going to stop in the middle right here and then cut around it. So I'm basically just cutting around the lines. Ooh, I'm going to add me some shells. Okay. Make sure you wash your applesauce packet first before you use it. Okay. Cool. Look at that starfish that's shiny. Just like from Moana. The song, that's what I meant. The shiny song. Okay. So I'm going to just pop this little starfish up here so it can lay on the rocks. All right, I'm going to make me some shells. Let's see. Let's use this lime green paper. Just make one of those cool shells like this. Cut that out. I could do some sand dollars too. And that's another thing I was thinking, for these underwater worlds, we don't have to focus on like the habitats we're creating, because we're using our imagination. So we can combine any underwater creature we want to. But, I mean, if you were doing this for school, you might have to think more about like what's actually in this part of the ocean together, because sometimes these creatures don't mix, but that's the fun part about using your imagination. All right, I'm going to make another colorful shell here. I'm going to make one of those curvy shells. Kind of looks like an ice cream cone. Well, maybe my fish are having ice cream underwater. Had a little ice cream party by their volcano. Da-da. I'm going to leave these shells to the side because at the end, we are going to make one more layer of the bottom to kind of emphasize two different distances. So like here you can see I had that I had the front part, but I also had some underwater ocean floor stuff in the back. Okay, so I'm going to save my shell so that we can have them nice up in front so you can see some more stuff. Okay, all right. So we are going to continue and think about our sea creatures now. So, of course, we have to have a shark. That's a given. But when you start listing all of the sea creatures, there are so many things you could do. Like, you could have a seahorse, octopus, killer whale, a sea turtle, a jellyfish taking on the jellies. There are just so many sea creatures. So, I'm going to start out with the shark, and then we'll see where we can go from there. And if you guys have some more ideas, go ahead and let me know. So, I'm just going to find some plain-ish paper. I'm going to go back to my cool Discover envelope. And I'm going to make me a shark. So, interesting thought. If you're going to have both sharks and dolphins on your in your underwater world, I would think about the way you're shaping them. So they are similar, but there are a few distinctions that can help you tell the difference. So when we're making our shark, just remember that the body in the front of the shark is curved more, and the mouth is usually open. So with these dolphins, they're not like just like a hump. It's actually like more like a C. So we will be doing dolphins as well later, but just think about how you want to make sure that those look a little different so you can tell the difference, okay? So we're going to draw our shark first, okay? And I'm not going to focus too much on the details, just like we've been doing, maybe adding a couple, like an eye or something, but I'm focusing more on including more creatures as we go, okay? So I'm going to have the hump here. The fin, I noticed a difference too on the fins. You guys probably already know all this stuff, but for the shark, it kind of shoots up more than the dolphin, which curves their fin. So, I'm going to have that come down. And then their tails go straight up and in. Down and in. Okay? You're going to curve down, because sharks are actually pretty, like, meaty and muscly. And then their bottom fin just curves up like that. And then we're going to finish by doing the top. Having a little mouth. And you can add the teeth. Ha-ha! Teeth. And then maybe an eye. Ooh, he's mean. And you know what? As I'm looking at this shape, I could fix it a little bit, because if you look at it, this part goes down and then this part is higher. These lines should match. So when I'm cutting it out, like I always say, you can always fix it as you're cutting it out. This part I'm probably going to shave down a little bit too. Okay? I have a fact about great white sharks, guys, but it's kind of depressing. So apparently, when great white sharks are born, they come out of their moms and they just swim away. And they have to swim away because apparently, if they don't, other sharks are going to eat them, like of their own species. Isn't that crazy? Like, in a way, I kind of can't say, like, this is bad, because, I mean, God created like that way, but it just blows my mind. Like, these sharks are tough. Like, they don't even have any family around them. Like, they have to fend for themselves the moment they come out of their moms, like, as babies. Yeah. I thought it was crazy, too. But I guess that makes them tough. All right. Now, we have options, guys, as always. When you are thinking about placing your creatures in your aquarium, you can think about, like we talked about, the distance you want them to be from the front of your aquarium. So when you think about when you see like fish, just regular fish in an aquarium like at home, you have fish that are close to the glass. You have fish like really far in the background, and sometimes they're hiding behind the little plants inside your aquarium. So that is called depth. And the way you create depth in art is you overlap, which means something is in front of something else. So if you would like to, you could just place it on your background and he could just be back there. Or if you guys have paper clips and you want to try this, you don't have to. This is just another way to create depth. You can take a paper clip and straighten it. Oh dear. There we go. You can take a clip and straighten it, or if you have skewers, like if you guys making kebabs, you have an extra skewer, you can use that. So straighten your paper clip, and this is going to hold your shark in place so you can think about, you know what, I want my shark to be swimming into the volcano. Or you could have your shark lurking on the bottom of the ocean floor, ready to find its prey. Okay, so you're going to tape the paper clip on the back. If you don't have tape, another thing you could do is get another piece of paper and just put glue. Use the glue stick on top and just sandwich the paper clip inside of the paper. Okay, so I'm going to get some tape real quick and tape that sucker down. And if the tape hangs off, all you have to do is snip it off. There we go. Okay. So, when we're putting the shark in our aquarium, it depends on what kind of material you have. But if you're using a meat tray or a to-go container, you can just stick it through the side wherever you want it to be. Okay, so I'm just going to stick mine through. When you stick it through, you have it poking through, and you can just fold it over and put some tape right here so that it stays just like you want it to. If you do not have those things, if you have a shoebox, you can still poke it through. You just might need a little bit of help because you might have to apply a lot of pressure. Okay, so I'm just going to put some tape right here to secure my shark. There we go. All right, so what other creatures could we add? If you guys have any ideas, you can add those in the comments. Hey, Sharon. So more creatures that we are thinking about to add. I am going to add a dolphin just to show the difference between a dolphin and a shark when we're cutting them out. Okay. So when we're doing a dolphin, like I said at the beginning, it's more of a C shape rather than a hump, okay? So we are going to make our dolphins look kind of like they are playing with each other or about to swim to the surface and jump out. So you want the idea as you go to start turning your marker so it turns into a C shape. So when we do the top fin, it curves a little bit more, like that, and then the tail curves around like that, okay? Now, this hump at the front is where the eyes go, and then we have the mouth, which almost looks like a beak, I think. It's kind of weird, but hey, I didn't create this. So we're going to come down and do the bottom fin. Lots of curves here, okay? So as you're creating your dolphin, think about the curves. And then the tail. Apparently, there's a type of dolphin that literally jumps out of the water and spins. Like, they like twirl in the air, and like that's just like something they do. I think they're called spinner dolphins. I think that's what they're called. But that would be so cool to see a dolphin like just jump out and spin. So I'm going to cut that guy out. And in real life, dolphins, I believe, tend to stay closer to the surface of the ocean. So, which is like an interesting thought if you think about it. Because all the ocean creatures all live in the same ocean. But depending on what level of water they live at is if they interact or not. So like dolphins live in the same ocean as, let's say, a blowfish. But I don't think blowfish and dolphins like interact. I could be wrong, but I don't think they're at the same level of water. So that's an interesting idea or thought. Okay? So I'm going to put my dolphin over here, having fun and playing in the water. And I'm going to keep my dolphin in the background for this one. You guys haven't hit me up with any more sea creatures. You guys have any ideas of what else I could add? I could add a giant kraken coming from the bottom, the depths by the volcano. Let's see, what else could I add? I feel like I need a jellyfish. Like, you cannot make an underwater ocean experience without a jellyfish. That's just wrong. So I'm going to find me some nice purpley pink paper. Okay. And I'm going to make me some jellies. Jellyfish are really fun because they're easy to make. Oh, yeah. Here's my starfish, Sharon. I made it out of a applesauce pouch container. Oh, yes, Jen. I was definitely going to do turtle. Thank you for reminding me. Okay, so jellyfish are super easy. Kind of like from SpongeBob. You just kind of like have a curve, and then you just make a bunch of like curvy W's underneath. Kind of looks like a pie top. Like a blueberry pie. That's funny. Okay, so then we just make the tentacles. And they're kind of, tentacles are really easy. It's just like making a bunch of S's. Ta-da! Maybe I just created a new creature. This is a pie jellyfish. A blueberry pie. Okay. Alrighty. I think I'm going to make one more jelly because he needs a friend. Let's see. Maybe we can find some pink. Ooh, perfect. And this time I'm going to make my jellyfish look more like a jellyfish rather than a pie top. So I think this time I'm going to make it curve a little bit more. Yeah, that looks more right. So instead of like making a mound like a pie, you could do a C and then turn it this way. Okay? Then we're going to still do those curvy W's on the bottom. And we're still going to make those tentacles. If you are having trouble making tentacles like this, you can just do like lines that are kind of like curvy S lines. And you can cut around those like we've been talking about. You can fix things when you're cutting them out. Okay? So, we are cutting our other jelly friend out. I think this one could be named like strawberry jelly, and the other one could be named like blueberry jelly. And they could be best friends and play in the ocean. All right. Now, these two guys, I am going to put them on paper clips so that I can have them more in the front of my underwater world, okay? So I'm going to get my paper clips again, and I'm going to make them straight. Ta-da! There we go. Okay. And then it's okay if these paper clips show a little bit. But if it bothers you a lot, something that you could do, you could disguise your paper clips by cutting out a bunch of circles and making it look like they're bubbles. And I'll show you in just a second. But you could cover those, and then the focus would be on the bubbles going to the surface of the ocean rather than your random paper clip just hanging out in your aquarium. All right. As you guys think about the creatures you want to add, also be aware that if you add too many and you overlap too many, it might get lost in the sauce. So if you want it to be kind of like, oh my gosh, you know, it'd be cool if you made it into an I Spy and you added tons of creatures, like you spent hours creating your aquarium, then you could use it as an I Spy for like someone in your house, which would be a really cool idea. And you can make really small creatures and really big creatures. So if you guys want to do that, go ahead. But if you want it to be more of an aquarium where people can see your creatures, I would suggest only doing about maybe 6, 7 creatures max, okay? And that's also considering that they're different sizes. Okay, so I got my jellies on a stick. Ba-ba. So now I'm going to think about how I want them to be staggered so it looks like they're swimming together in the ocean. I'm just ignoring the fact that they're right in front of the shark because they're not going to get eaten. Sharks don't eat jellyfish. And they're just swimming by and they don't have to think about it. I think we're going to do this. So this guy is going to be closer to the top. And I'm just going to fold that over. And tape him on. Another thing that would be cool to add is a scuba diver. So in this one, my mom and I did this one together, and she found this little guy in one of my printed materials. So she was like, you know what, let's just cut him out and add like scuba gear, like he's exploring the ocean, which is such a cool idea. So that's another thing you could add is like an explorer, finding new creatures in the ocean. All right, so like I said, if you want to cut out bubbles and cover your paper clip so that you can't see it, it's not as noticeable, that might be another thing. So just literally just cut out circles that are more on the lighter white color and tape them on top of this paper clip, okay? Personally, it doesn't really bother me. So I'm just gonna have my little jelly guy down here. Okay. I'm just going to tape that guy on there. Now, sea turtles, next one. OMG, guys. I'm telling you, sea turtles are so easy to make. You guys are going to love this. And you can make a whole group of sea turtles. So I'm going to find me some greenish paper. Oh, I'm loving this. Look at that. That is so fun. I feel like the volcano really added that other dimension, you know? Okay. So, let's see here. Find me a green. Now, for sea turtles. Very simple, guys. All you got to do is just make a circle. That's the shell. And then we just have to draw triangles for the legs, a baby triangle for the tail, and an oval for the head. So we got the oval, we got the medium triangle, medium triangle, medium triangle, medium triangle, baby triangle for the tail. Boom, baby. And if you guys want to add some more details, feel free. But this is all I'm going to do for my turtle. If the triangle fins bother you, if you want to make them more curved, go ahead. They do not have to be pointy. Alright, this is going to be the last sea creature that I'm going to add. I'm really restraining myself from making a mermaid because I feel like that would be really fun. But I might do that if I make another one. Okay, for this sea turtle, I'm thinking about just sticking him right here. He's like floating above the bottom of the ocean. Or I could put him over here. You know what? I'm just going to stick him right there by the dolphin. Maybe they'll become friends. Okay? Now, the next step would be, like we said before, to think about the front. Okay? In art, we have technical terms for this, so whatever is behind or in the very back is called a background, which you guys probably already know that. Whatever's in the front is called the foreground. So in art, when you're thinking about that, that helps separate those two things and make it easier to focus on. So now that we did the background, we focused on that. Now we can focus on the foreground and focus on that. What you're going to be doing is making a couple things in the foreground right here on the very front that make it look like there's more depth to your ocean. So I have my shells from before, thanks to Michael. And I think it would be really cool to make a treasure chest. So I'm going to get me my paper bag that I've been telling you guys that I'm going to use. And I'm going to make a treasure chest. Alright, I don't need it to be too big because I don't want it to cover up the things behind it. I just want it to be more emphasis on the foreground. So I'm going to have an open box. Okay? Really simple box. And like again, I said I messed that part up, so all I have to do is just cut it out differently. Then I'm going to do the top lid of my treasure chest. Boom! Put a little lock on it, but it's busted, and I'm going to put some gold in here. Maybe even put a pearl necklace coming out of the side. Alright, I'm going to cut this guy out. I'm going to take my shells, and I'm just going to kind of put these on the corner. I don't feel like I have to cover the whole front for this aquarium, but if you want to cover the whole front with more things that you could think of that go on the bottom ocean floor, you can do that. Okay, so I'm going to stick some of my stuff right here, and I'm going to use tape for this. I'm not sure how secure using a glue stick would be, but you can try it. So I got my treasure chest. You could also like add some kelp too that goes around it, like it had covered it for years and years. Oop. All right, and as we're looking to finish off our aquariums, if you guys want to add plastic to the front just to kind of make it look like it's a real aquarium, like it's glass covering the front, you can do that. So I'm going to show you guys how to do it, but if you don't want to and you want to make yours more interactive, like let's say that you didn't tape your shark on the outside, you could literally pull this guy out and play with him in your aquarium and then stick them back in. So if you want yours to be more interactive, go ahead, man. You just created your own toy, right? How cool is that? So I'm going to stick my shells on here. Okay. Like I said, I could totally add some more things up front to add more depth to my project, but that's all I'm going to add for today. So, when you are ready, if you want to close yours off and use plastic wrap, first of all, make sure it's the correct size. Be careful when you're taking the plastic off the container. You don't want to cut yourself. And before I put this on my aquarium, I want to set it to the side very carefully because it easily gets crumbled up. I want to turn my aquarium over and add glue to the outside so that I can easily fold it over and make it tight. And that is the key, my friends. When you are making your aquarium, your plastic wrap needs to be tight. Okay. All right. So I'm starting at the top, folding it over and making it nice and tight. There we go. And another thing that you can practice too, if it gets too bunched up on the sides, you can also go to the other side, like the top and the bottom, and work on that, and then alternate back to the side, and that'll help balance out how tight it is, so it's not tight on the sides or too tight on the top and bottom, so it balances it out. If your plastic wrap comes off a little bit, you can also tape the sides with tape just to reinforce it. Okay? Check it out. This is my favorite one I've made so far. That is so fun. Please make sure to post your underwater worlds so I can see your imagination just flowing. On Monday, make sure to join me at 1 p.m. We are actually going to be focusing on an art word called symmetry, okay? And we are going to be making symmetry pictures. Let me just show you real quick. Super fun. And once you get the hang of it, it's super easy, okay? But yeah, we're going to be making symmetry pictures. So get your magazines ready. Join me at 1 on Monday, and we will see you again. All right? Looking forward to seeing your art, guys. Thanks for creating with me today. Bye.